First of all, Commissioners, thank you for holding this hearing today, and thank you for having it at this venue. We certainly appreciate that. Of course, we would have minded if you'd have given everybody a drink of water. That would have been good. But anyway, thank you all for coming. Your presence, your comments, your voices here certainly mean a lot. Thank you very much. I'm not sure where I begin. We've heard an awful lot of things here today, but let me begin, I guess, where I've begun and talked about for many, many years. Let me defend myself. We've decided to make an issue out of overspending for the last 8 years, or 10 years, or however many years you want to say. I think it was mentioned today, 8. $1 million. I think there was a young lady over here somewhere mentioned that's $125,000 a year. $125,000 a year. If you take Mr. Moore's supposed salary, which we've never got an answer for that, but Mr. France is sitting right there, and I can guarantee you he knows where every penny in this county is. Every single penny. So, Mr. France, do you have any idea what Mr. Moore's salary is? $90,000. Not offhand. So you don't know that? So you don't have control of the county's budgets? Okay. Well, let's just say it's $90,000. And let's say that, as Mr. Dick mentioned, Mr. Bobby Dick, who also, as he mentioned before, is a very good friend of mine and a very professional individual, and I've enjoyed that friendship for quite some years, so I'm certainly not putting him down in any fashion. If you take his salary and Mr. Moore's supposed salary, which, as many people mentioned, 90 was never opposed, that would be $17,000 to the good, if you added that to my budget. $17,000 to the good. This has been an ongoing issue, Commissioners, as you all well know, for quite some time. You have presented my budget to me over the years, since I have been the sheriff the last 13 and a half years. And I will stand behind this as much as I'm standing here in front of you. There's 17 areas of my budget I do not control. And why do I make that comment? Because one of them is salaries. I'm not sure how you misappropriate salaries when you know what the salary of every officer is, but you misappropriate it by $14,726, and you tell me that I have to control that. You then misappropriate exactly how much insurance coverage I will have. One of the line items is $195,000. The other line item for health insurance is $10,665. You give me the figures, I didn't. You then have comp time payout. I have no idea, myself or anybody in this room or any deputy or employee who works for me, when they're going to get ill. But the comp time comes out of my office. That is in the arrears. $19,637 when it was only budgeted $6,000. End of service payout. What is end of service payout? That is when a deputy leaves us, either retires or, on this unfortunate time, passed away. That was $26,668 in the red. Again, not budgeted. Let me get down a little bit further. Let's go to overtime. Overtime has been an issue ever since I've been in the office, because I have mentioned every year since I've been in the office, except one, so in 12 and a half years I've mentioned that I needed additional staff. 6 people every year I've asked you for, because the calls for service have gone up and things change and evolve. Since 1995, as Mr. France mentioned, we had 14 deputies. We moved 14 years ahead in time to present, and I have 20 deputies. Well, actually now I have 5 deputies. But I had 20 as of Monday. Well, actually I should say as of Sunday. Well, that leaves 6 individuals who have actually been added to my shift in a 14-year period. I don't see any problem with that, and it should be a lot more, and I've mentioned that repeatedly. I then have electric, telephone, who are also utilities, and I'm not sure how I control them. They're in the red by a couple thousand. And then I come down this thing and I see miscellaneous, and it says $73,267. That amount, $73,267, as Mr. Stakem, you told me I would not be paying for the Lindsay study. You told me that the county commissioners commissioned this study. Did I commission the Lindsay study, the second one? Did I commission either one of the Lindsay studies? No. But I'm paying for it out of my budget, as Mr. France drew it out of there. So there's $73,000 in the red, okay? Then we have auto parts. I'm sorry I can't figure out when cars are going to break down. I'm sorry about that. We have gasoline, which is over this year, $48,202. It is over. However, I don't control the oil companies and I don't raise this gasoline. Yet when this year I asked for $100,000 in my gas budget, you give me $80,000. So every year I've asked, you cut it back. Let me go back to overtime just for a minute. Over the last 6 or 7 years, I've mentioned to you that my overtime has been $140,000 to $160,000. Why? Because I don't have staff. Let me tell you why I don't have staff. I don't have staff because over the last 2 years, I've had 5 to 6 people out, either sick or some type of leave. And that type of leave, and I'm not afraid to tell anybody in this room, is some of it is an administrative leave. When you say I'm under investigation, meaning my office, there's one officer under investigation. He's currently suspended. We felt he was doing wrong things. I can't exactly elaborate on what he was doing. He is currently under investigation by the State Special Prosecutor's Office. And the minute I knew about it, was told by my staff who do the books, I immediately suspended him. He's still on suspension. As I have done in the past with any deputy or any correctional officer who's done wrong, I've suspended them, given them their due process hearings, and many times fired them and hired other people in their place. Miscellaneous. This is for our K9. It's $2,100 in the red. And auto insurance. I can't set auto insurance. It's $72,200. $7,263 in the red. What does that total? $389,572 in the red. 17 areas I do not control. If you look at the areas I do control, 5 of them are out, which is meal allowances, office supplies, copy expenses, sanitation, safety equipment. That's in the red, $1,753 as I posted in the paper. And by the way, yes, I did put those ads in the paper. Also, 34 of those areas in my budget are in the positive black. That's $75,611.